Magandang gabi sa ating lahat. Welcome to our 365 Daily Devotion. At ngayong gabi ay patuloy nating pagbubulay-bulayan ng ating series na The Power of Vision. Ang paksa natin ngayon ay pinamagatang Vision Ignites Undying Hope. Ang paksa natin ay magmumula sa talata ng Genesis chapter 1 verse 14. Ang sama nito, Then Pharaoh sent the cook and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of dungeon, and he shaved himself and changed his raiment and came into the Pharaoh. Kaya pinatawag si Jose ni Paraon at agad siyang inilabas mula sa kulungan. Nag-ahit siya, nagpalit ng damit at pumunta sa harapan ng Paraon. So ang katuruan natin dito sa ating paksa, una, vision ignites undying hope. Joseph's life demonstrates how vision gives us hope even in darkest seasons, despite being betrayed, enslaved, and imprisoned. So Joseph never gave up on the vision God had placed in his heart. He believed that God was faithful and that the vision would come to pass, no matter how long it took. This hope fueled his perseverance, keeping him from becoming bitter or despairing. So when we have God-given vision, it becomes a beacon of hope that keeps us moving forward. Vision allows us to see beyond our current circumstances and trust in the bigger picture that God is orchestrating. It assures us that our struggles are not in vain and that God is working all things together for good. In our lives, there will be seasons of waiting, challenges, and uncertainty. Without a clear vision, it's easy to lose hope. But when we hold on to the vision God has given us, it reignites our faith and reminds us that His plans are worth waiting for. Just as Joseph's hope was sustained by his vision, our hope can remain steadfast when anchored in God's promises. Second is the vision requires excellence. Joseph's rise to prominence wasn't accidental. It was a result of his faithfulness and excellence, even in adverse circumstances. In Potiphar's house, Joseph excelled as a servant in prison. He gained the favor of the prison warden by his exceptional character and diligence. These seemingly small acts of excellence prepared Joseph for the greater responsibility of governing Egypt. Vision requires us to cultivate excellence in every area of our lives, regardless of our current situation. Excellence isn't about perfection, it's about giving our best effort in whatever we do, knowing that we are ultimately serving God, not man. When we approach our work, relationships, and responsibilities with excellence, we demonstrate that we are trustworthy and ready for greater opportunities. Joseph's commitment to excellence even in prison positioned him for the moment when Pharaoh called him. Likewise, our excellence today prepares us for the fulfillment of God's vision tomorrow. Third teaching is vision becomes reality in due time. So the fulfillment of Joseph's vision didn't happen overnight. It took years of waiting, trials, and preparation. However, when God's time came, everything changed in an instant. Joseph went from being a prisoner to being the second most powerful man in Egypt in a single day. God's timing is perfect, and His vision for our lives will come to pass in due time. Waiting can be difficult, but it's during these seasons that God shapes our character, builds our faith, and prepares us for the responsibilities that come with the vision. Joseph's years of waiting were not wasted. They were a crucial part of his preparation. So as we wait for the fulfillment of God's vision, we can trust in His sovereignty and grace. God knows the best time to bring His plans to fruition, and His timing is always worth the wait. The reality of the vision will come not because of our efforts alone, but because of God's faithfulness and power. So what is our application here? First is to develop resilience and staying power. Vision requires resilience, the ability to keep growing despite setbacks, disappointments, and delays. Like Joseph, we must develop staying power, trusting that God is working behind the scenes even when we don't see immediate results. Resilience is built through prayer, faith, and reliance on God's strength. When you face challenges, remind yourself of the vision God has placed in your heart. Keep pressing forward, knowing that your perseverance is part of the process. Let setbacks refine your character and deepen your dependence on God. Resilience isn't about never failing or never falling. It's about getting back up and continuing to trust in God's plan. Second is to remain excellent and faithful. No matter where you find yourself, commit to excellence and faithfulness. Like Joseph, use every opportunity to develop your skills, grow in wisdom, and demonstrate integrity. Your current situation, no matter how challenging, is part of God's preparation for the next stage of your journey. Excellence isn't just about what you do, it's about how you do it. Approach every task with a heart that seeks to honor God. Be faithful in small things, trusting that God will entrust you with greater responsibilities in His time. Lastly is to trust the grace and sovereignty of God. Ultimately, the fulfillment of our vision depends on God's grace and sovereignty. So we are called to do our part, being resilient, excellent, and faithful. But it's God who brings the vision to pass. Trust in His timing, His provision, and His ability to accomplish what He has promised. So when the journey feels long or uncertain, remind yourself of God's faithfulness in the past, just as He fulfilled His promises to Joseph. He will fulfill His promises to you. Surrender your timeline and expectations to Him and rest in the assurance that His plans are good.